I am here with a very special video. It is the first video in a succession of videos that I will be posting on my BookTube channel that follows Martina McCuddy's read-along for her first book, Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things. I am so excited to be partnering with her and doing the read-along with her, and just so honored that she let me partner with her. I can't even express it. So this is the first video, and we are going to talk about the first 3 chapters because that was yesterday's reading. I don't want to talk about the next 3 chapters because some of you might not have read them yet, so we'll just talk about the first 3, and we'll talk about her question that she posted yesterday. And so here we go. The first 3 chapters I absolutely love. I'm currently reading it on my phone because I actually let my sister borrow it. You saw her in the last video that I posted, Alita. She's borrowing my physical copy, and so I had to read it on my phone, but I get to highlight the things that I want to talk about. So I have a couple things highlighted and a couple questions for you guys actually that I would love if you would answer in the comments below, or I'm also going to post this on the read-along Facebook page and Instagram. So you can answer the questions either here or on Facebook or on Instagram, wherever you want. They are just follow-up questions for when I'm reading, and I'm just curious what you think. So go ahead and answer them there. Side note, I need to apologize for the hair that's happening right now. I am a teacher, like I said in my intro video, and our students on my team raised $680 for Pennies for Patients. And so we told them that if they raised that, you know, a big number, we said $500, but if they raised that amount, they got to do a teacher torture day. And so my colleague Emily got 10 pies thrown in her face, and it was just like whipped cream on paper plates. So she got pies thrown in her face. My colleague Brian was duct taped to the wall, and the funny thing is he's like 6'3", and the kids like duct taped him to the wall. It was really funny. My colleague Mike got his head shaved into a mohawk, and then I let my kids dye my hair, and it's a temporary dye. It's like a wash dye or whatever, but they did blue on this side and pink on this side, and it's like you can kind of see it. I don't know. It was this dye. It was weird. It was this dye where you put it in and then you let it dry and then you brush it out. So it wasn't one of those rinse dyes, but let me tell you, it made my head like a helmet. It was like one of those, like if you ever did the paper mache with like the yarn and dipped in glue around the balloons, that's what it felt like on my head. So I just showered. It's still there kind of, but anyway, that's what's going on with my hair. So back to the first 3 chapters. Let's talk about the very first line of the book, which reads, "You know, Miss Landry, you have the best skin I've ever seen on a corpse." What did you guys think of that? I always think about first lines of books because that's what really hooks you. What did you guys think of the first line? I thought that was so interesting because it's like, why is she talking to a corpse? That's weird. What is she doing? Is she at a funeral? Is she, you know, it just kind of makes you think about all these things, but it really sets it up for her life before things happen later in the book. I'm just curious, what do you guys think of the first line? So then on the second page on my phone, it talks about how she has to go to her dad's funeral, which is really sad. And it talks about the fact that she has to be taken by a social worker because she's obviously not 18. So then it read, "But the social worker had assured Ember her opinion didn't matter." And I questioned, how many teens feel that way? Like when adults talk to them, do they feel like their opinion matters? Do they feel like they have a say in anything? And I'm just curious what you think. I'm an 8th grade teacher, so I think that about my students. Like when they're in my classroom, do they feel like they have an opinion? Or do they feel like I'm basically telling them what they have to think? It's an interesting thought. So then we find out that it's her birthday, and her dad's funeral is on her birthday. And it just made me think, like, how sad. She's 17 and she should be out celebrating with her friends, and she should have a party or like go out and do something, and she has to go to her dad's funeral. And it just kind of made me think, like, what is she going through? And so have any of you shared your birthdays with something sad or even something great? This year, I share my birthday with Father's Day. And so I told my dad that we had to do something fun. And he said, well, Heidi, it's your birthday. Your birthday is more important than Father's Day. And I said, well, no, we need to do something fun. So anyway, what do you think? Is it Do you share your birthday with anything? Do you share your birthday with any family members? What is that like? If you're a twin, sharing your birthday, do you feel like you don't have your own day? I'm just kind of curious about that, and Ember has to experience that. Also, this chapter opens up in the month of November, which is actually Ember's full name, which I thought was really smart by Martina to set the opening of the book in the same month that Ember shares her name with. And that had to have been thought out. So I thought that was really interesting too. So then in the first chapter, it also says, she pulled her sweater tighter around her, hoping her arm hid the largest hole. And that was really telling. I sometimes see my students come in and I'm like, oh, they wore that sweater, you know, a couple days ago, or they've been wearing the same sweater for, you know, the last week or two. And it's kind of a trigger or a sign that they might be struggling in their family with money. And so that little detail made me think, well, maybe Ember is poor. Maybe her dad couldn't give her much. Maybe he was struggling. And then the other question too is, what happened to her mom? Why is her mom not in the picture? We haven't heard about her mom. Is her mom at the funeral? Is her mom coming to take her to the funeral? We don't really know. So that's, I guess, another point that we have to talk about. So then chapter 2, we get to Mace. And I'm not really sure how I feel about Mace, except I've already read the book, so I know how I feel about Mace. But at this point in the book, I don't know how I feel about Mace. I don't really trust him, but I think it's really funny when he's walking down the street and he sees the group of like college boys and he's like, oh, should I eat one of them? Should I not? And so that to me makes me think that he's some sort of vampire and he's gonna kill one of those guys. And then it said something about like, he would be doing the world a favor and getting rid of one of the douchebags, which is totally hysterical because we all know you have the typical college guy and he's totally a douchebag and he doesn't go to class and he's all about the frat. And I think that was so funny that Martina put that in there, that he would just be getting rid of one of those guys. I thought that was absolutely hysterical. I loved it. So Mace is following Ember, and we don't really know why, but then he gets a phone call from this weird person saying, just do your job, has anything happened, questioning what's going on. So clearly he's following her for a reason. And I kind of want to know who this guy is. And I kind of want to know why he's following her and why he hasn't said anything or said hi or introduced himself. So again, more weird things happening, but again, we're 2 chapters into the book and it's a hefty book, but I love it. So then we get to chapter 3, and that is Kai. And Kai is so funny. Just in that first chapter, his reactions to things, and he's in math class, which is so normal, and I love that. But we know that he's not normal. Just within that chapter, we can tell that there's something unique about him, something different about him. But the fact that he's in math class is totally normal and hysterical. And one of my favorite quotes of the 3 chapters is in this, and it says, Quinn was in smart people math, where they started throwing in hearts and hieroglyphics and alchemical symbols, most of which he was sure they just made up. And that's exactly how my 8th graders feel about math, especially right now. They're learning some really hard concepts in math, and they're really struggling with it, and it always makes me think of that quote. You get the X's, and you get like the imaginary numbers, and then you have to solve for X and Y, and they're just totally having a hard time with math, and it just makes me think of Kai and how he thinks that everything is like symbols and hieroglyphics and a totally other, you know, different language. And I just thought that was really funny. So then he gets a name, shows up on his arm, and he said something about people have to die, and then he wants to show his sister, but he doesn't know, and then Reese pops in and asks if everything is okay, and it's like, who's Reese? And there's some tension between them, and we're not really sure what's going on there. But then all of a sudden, Tristan, Kai's sister, screams. Everyone's plugging their ears, and it's like, is she screaming randomly? Is she meaning to scream? Is this like a reaction of hers? Like, we don't really know why she's screaming. And then of course Kai's reaction is like, well, that was unexpected. So it's like, what is happening? And that's where the first 3 chapters leave us. So I am really excited to continue on. This is my 2nd read through this book, and I'm excited to read it with you guys. And I'm going to answer Martina's first question that she posted on the read along, which is, where is your safe place? And first of all, shout out to the winner of that contest, Leona Gregory. She actually just happens to be a colleague of mine, and she read this book actually before I did. She borrowed my physical copy of it and read it. And so she actually got a Goodreads review on the book page before I did, But I'm really excited she won. Congratulations, Leona, and hopefully the rest of you will keep entering as the month goes on and doing giveaways. I'm hopefully going to do a couple giveaways here on BookTube, and you'll be able to enter those as well. So for my safe place, I was actually struggling between two things. The first thing is in my house with my cats. I have two cats. Duncan is my black cat and Woody is my orange cat, and I love sitting on my couch with my boys reading a book. That's like my safe place at home. But the other one I wanted to mention was actually with my parents. My parents live less than a mile away. I chose to buy my house that close to them because they mean so much to me and I wanted to spend a lot of time with them. And so it's really nice for me to go over to their house and have dinner or just go hang out, or if I have a bad day, just go over to their house after work. And I feel really safe there. I feel like I can talk to them about anything, and I think just having them around makes me feel safe. And so I'm struggling between the two. So those are just my two places where I feel safe. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you will join me throughout the rest of the read along. I plan on posting videos every Saturday, but if I feel inspired, I might post a couple videos during the week if I get excited to talk to you guys about some things. But please leave your comments down below. Are you enjoying the book so far? Is this your first read? Is this your second read? Is this your third read? Let me know. Also, answer my questions that I asked. I would love to hear what you think. You can either answer them down below, or you can answer them on Facebook or on Instagram where I post this video. Also, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, I would love to have you subscribe. It means so much to me that you're watching this video and hopefully other videos that I make. I hope you're all having a wonderful day, and I'll see you back in another video. Keep reading, you guys. I'm excited. Bye!